are. You just need a little more practice with your dad.
Somebody has to put food on the table.
Just stop saying you're gonna be there when you can't.
Welcome back to this special edition of The World Over from New Orleans. I recently caught up with actor David Henrie. He is the writer and producer and director of a new film called Catch. It's about fathers and the time they spend with their children. Now, David is probably best known to audiences from his work on The Wizards of Waverly Place over at Disney Channel. He is collaborating this time out with actor Eduardo Verastegui. I caught up with both of them. Take a look. David, I want to start with you. Where did this idea for Catch originate?
It actually started on set of Little Boy. Eduardo cast me to act in his feature film Little Boy, and I had met one of the filmmakers on the project, a guy named Alonso Alvarez Barrera. And I had been wanting to direct a short film for a very long time. I got to write and direct for Wizards of Waverly Place, so it was my dream to be a filmmaker one day and to sort of be able to control my future creatively. So I knew I had to make a short film first. And when I met this kid Alonso, I watched his short film Crescendo, one of the best short films I'd ever seen. So I pretty much hounded him to collaborate with me, and we came up with Catch.
And Crescendo was, of course, something, Eduardo, that you worked on.
Yes.
This was a fantastic film about the birth of Beethoven, right?
Yes. Well, actually, same story. Alonso Alvarez is a very good friend of ours. He's from Tampico, Tamaulipas, Mexico, and he came to me with the idea of Crescendo, and I fell in love with the story, and it was hard for me to say no to be involved in this story as a producer. And where Patty Mallette, Justin Bieber's mother, joined the project as an executive producer, and it is the life of the mother of Beethoven, and it's the importance of, to recognize the dignity of the human person, and to always defend it from conception to natural death. And this movie is just very profound. Not only is it designed to entertain, but to really inspire people to do the right thing.
And David, this movie Catch is really about the dignity of the human person and the dignity of that relationship between fathers and sons.
Right.
How much of this came from your personal experience?
I think I definitely related to a lot of the story in that my father came from a very poor household, and he wanted to provide the lifestyle for my family that he didn't ever have. So that came with a lot of sacrifice. I've labeled it the good dad problem. It's the father who wants to provide for the family, but at what cost?
Right.
And my dad definitely sacrificed a lot of time trying to provide for us. And I'm not using my father as an example, but any fathers, you come to that point where you're not sure how to quite balance the time.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of theme that we hit on. And I showed what that looks like through the point of view of an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I showed how that makes him feel, and we go on a nice little journey sort of highlighting that theme.
Something popped up. I have to get back to work.
But you promised.
We'll work on those puff flies tonight.
You have said in interviews about your mother and father, Jim and Linda, they sacrificed more than anyone will know. How so?
Yeah, they, I mean, when you have a kid who says his dream is to be an actor, and you live in Hollywood, and you know no one in California, 99 out of 100 people will go, yeah, give it up, kid. There's no way you can do it. That's crazy. Yeah. My mom believed in me. She took me to California. She got me helped get me in front of agents and managers. My dad worked extra hard to be able to afford a home in LA, a home in Arizona. They for months at a time went without seeing each other just because they believed in me and my brother so much and our abilities so much. And
they moved the family from Arizona.
Eventually, they moved the family from Arizona, yes, but my dad was going back and forth. He was in Arizona, my mom and I were in LA, and it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice on both of their parts, and I don't know how they did it. It really was a blessing.
Did you ever miss your father the way this little boy does?
Of course. Yeah, sure. Always miss my dad, yeah.
Eduardo, how did you get involved in this project? I mean, obviously Crescendo was part of the inspiration here. How did you decide to jump on as a producer?
Everything started because of what David just said. We met at the set of Little Boy, and I discovered, not only a great actor but a great filmmaker, because David told me that he wanted not only to act, but he wanted to direct, and the kind of films he wanted to direct, were exactly the films that I wanted to be involved. So when he came with the idea of making and directing Catch, again, just like I said to Alonso, it was hard for me to say no to be involved in this project that is designed, again, not only to entertain but to make a difference. And what makes David a great filmmaker is not just that he's very talented in how he tells the story, but the story is full of heart, and as Beethoven said, what comes from the heart goes to the heart. At this film, we put all our heart, and you see his soul, his heart, his mind, his love, his everything in this short film that I'm sure is going to touch many hearts around the world.
Yeah, no, the little boy is enchanting.
Incredible,
in the film. And he resonates with all of us because, dads, we all have the guilt. I mean, the moment you run off to do something or immerse yourself in a project, you constantly feel that tug that you wish you were with the kids, you wish you could take them with you. And the film I love how it honors that. We see a father struggling, trying to make ends meet, and yet there's this little boy that needs his time too.
And it's very important, these kind of stories, Raymond, because the average percentage in America, parents having meaningful conversations with their children every day is less than 10 minutes a day. But in front of the media is more than 8 hours a day. So we know who is educating our children now in our days.
The TV, the Xbox.
It's not parents, it's TV, it's videos, it's
Netflix,
movies, all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how you use it. You can, if you use it good, you can make a difference. If you use it wrong, you can poison our society. But this short film is designed to inspire parents to spend quality time with their children, which is very important.
No, it's critically important. And David, we're seeing throughout the culture the ripple effects of kids being raised alone. The number of single-parent households is going through the roof. And you've said there seems to be a stigma that your generation, the younger generation, has with regards to family and even having kids. Explain that.
I mean, just a lot of the conversations that I have in Hollywood with different people that I know, it's like, just when you bring up family, I always bring up my big family. I love my family. I love my cousins. I love my aunts. I love my uncles. It's great. It's the best thing ever. And then I ask young girls in their mid-20s or whatever, when are you gonna, wouldn't you want to be a mom one day or settle down and have kids? Oh no, it's me time. It's me time. Like, okay, all right. What? Like, kids are bad? Like, I'm gonna get a dog. Really? You're gonna get a dog?
That's the beginning and the end.
That's the great. That's fantastic. It doesn't make sense to me. The greatest thing in the world you could do is share love with something that you create. I mean, and share your heart with someone else. Like, how on earth would you want to pursue a life of love and not share that with your
others,
family,
and
with
have,
others,
and have a piece of you go on, and the heritage and your traditions go on. I mean, Fido can't quite communicate that into the future.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense.
Tell me about your own journey. You are perhaps best known, certainly to my children and to many others, from The Wizards of Waverly Place, from That's So Raven. Before that, you did the CBS show How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
How has this journey been for you?
It's been very eye-opening to me in that along the way, I always knew I wanted to write, I always knew I wanted to create, I always knew I wanted to make an impact for the better. I just didn't quite know what my outlet was, and I didn't quite know when that opportunity would be made available for me. I was very lucky to write for Wizards of Waverly Place. And then once I did Little Boy with Eduardo and the whole team at Metanoia, we all just connected so well on the types of movies that we loved, and the types of the impact we want to create on audience to inspire people to instill change in their community in a better way. My favorite movies growing up were movies that left the theater with you. And that's the potential art has. If you look at art in the very beginning, why some of the most beautiful architecture in the world are churches, is because they were used to try to touch something intangible and to give you that feeling. And that's what art has the capability of doing, of touching something inside of you. It's almost like you're trying to touch the heavens, you know what I mean? And I think movies, especially for our generation, it is a platform that can be used in a very positive way.
Has this been a hard transition for you from the Disney alumni to what you're doing now? Some of your colleagues who've made this transition, it's been
Sure, a little rocky.
a bit bumpier
Yeah.
and grindier.
No, there's, with it depends, because a lot of kids, they get involved with acting before they realize they want to do it, or they might be forced into it. So a lot of the times when kids will finish a show when they're very successful as a youngster, they might not want to act after that, or they're like, I made enough to sustain my life, I want to go do something else, so a lot of kids fade out that way. But the kids who want to take it seriously when they finish Disney Channel, I think there's a good way to do it. The show built up a great audience for me, and I want to mature with that audience. And I don't want to do anything that will be offensive to them or to lose their support.
How big a role did your personal faith play in the making of this movie and wanting to make a movie like this about fathers and sons and family?
I think the relationship with a father and a son is so important. And if you have a good relationship with your father, it's preventative in so many aspects in terms of later in your life and having a healthy life psychologically as an adult. There's no doubt, every psychologist in the world will tell you there's a direct correlation between your mental state and how you were raised. And if you have a good relationship with your father, you automatically associate your father and your parents with authoritative figures later in life. And especially, and you make that correlation without even realizing it subconsciously. So if you get along with your father and you have a good relationship with your father, it's just going to make it easier for everything else later on in life. So I want to, in a small way, I didn't even realize that when I was writing it, but in a small way, we shine a light on a problem that could become worse and could cause, wounds. So we're helping shine a light on something that can bring healing.
Eduardo, I want to tie something together here, because David also, you weren't practicing your faith for a good number of years.
Yeah, no.
And you too sort of fell away from your faith for a number of years until you were involved in a film, and you had an English coach, whom you and I know. I won't mention her name, but she was sort of critical in your return to your faith.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us how that happened?
Well, it's not like I left my faith. I grew up Catholic. I thought I was a great Catholic only because I was going to Mass once a year.
Well.
That was my...
that is the minimum requirement, so you're okay, I guess.
Once a year, and I thought, what, this is the kind of mentality that sometimes you have. I'm not a criminal, I'm not a saint either, but I'm a good person, I don't really harm anybody, and I'm a good guy, God knows that I love him and he's merciful, therefore you give yourself a license to do pretty much whatever you want to do in the name of, well, I'm not perfect, So until one day I realized that I was following many lies in my life, because I grew up in a culture thinking that in order to be happy, because I wanted to be happy, and in order to be happy, you need to have success, fame, pleasure, power, and all those things that society tells you that if you achieve to the top of the mountain and you achieve all those things, you're going to be somebody in life. Therefore, you're going to be happy. And after many years of trying to pursue all those dreams, I realized one day that I thought I had everything, but on the other hand, I had nothing, and I was very empty. And at that moment, that's when I met my English teacher, who changed, not only taught me English, but changed my life by asking me a lot of questions, like, for example, what is the purpose of life? How are you using your talents? Who is God in your life? And using the Socratic method for many months. After 6 months, I realized that my faith was not the center of my life, not because I didn't want it to, but because I didn't know my faith. And how can you love what you don't know? And at that moment, I made a promise to God. Plus, first I got on my knees and I said, I'm really sorry for all the things that I have done that offended you and offended my audience, and I was very responsible. I was not responsible in what I was doing because of my ignorance.
And then you turned down a lot of projects after that.
Well, after I made that promise to God that I will never work in any project that will offend my faith, my family, or my Latino culture, I knew that the price may be that I will never work again in this career. So for 4 years, I had to turn down every single project because everything that I got offered, was talking about the things that I promised that I will never do, until I realized, okay, I need to become a producer because I was tired of waiting for a project that would portray a role, portray a man as a real man. So I realized that the only way how you can have the power to control the message is only if you become a producer. That's how I started my production company.
That's pretty amazing. Just growing up in Hollywood, hearing that story. Anyone who just says, "Okay, I want to become a producer,"
right? Good luck.
there's 500 people every day that do that and try to do it, and it's a nearly impossible feat. So the fact that you actually you pursued that and got that movie made, that's mind blowing.
No, it's unbelievable.
Mind blowing.
And the other amazing thing is, you start a production company with guys who, like you, are broke.
Oh no, two crazy guys who were.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, we're three crazy guys, completely broke. I was in, our office when we started this company. Metanoia Films was literally in the living room of my house, mi casa, su casa,
Well,
su
I
casa,
guess.
and with a little table and a sofa and a cell phone, and now we're producers, and we have no idea what we had a vision.
In mind.
We had a vision. We wanted to make films that will have the potential not only to entertain, but to make a difference in people's lives, elevating human dignity. And our hope was, as a filmmakers, when people see our films, they will leave not only entertained, but touch, move, and inspire, wanting to be a better person. And our first fruit of that mission was Bella. As you know, you have been an ambassador of our movie Bella. Second project is Little Boy, which is when we met.
Now this is coming out. Tell us about this movie.
Coming out at the end of the year. It's just a beautiful fairy tale for adults through the eyes of a little kid that is 7 years old, who looks like 4, and it's World War II. His father goes to war, and the kid, his best friend leave him, which is his father, and the entire movie is the adventure of this little kid trying to achieve the impossible, to end World War II so he can bring his father back home alive. And the older brother of Little Boy is David Henrie, London, one of our lead actors in the movie, who became like Marlon Brando on set. Wait till you see this guy, you won't recognize.
The movie hit me in a very profound way because it was directly dealing with a theme that I had been debating internally for a very long time. Where do you put your faith? You got to put your faith in something. Everyone puts their faith in something. I have faith that this chair is going to hold me up right now. Everyone puts their faith in something. Are you going to put your faith in yourself and your abilities to determine your own reality? Or are you going to put your faith in something bigger than you? Something along the lines of hope. And it brought me to tears. It was the best script that I had ever read in my entire life. And I told my agent, my manager, if you don't get me this role, I'm going to be very upset. Wow. And I went in and I had one of the best auditions of my life. I met Eduardo, I met everyone. I drove up on my motorcycle.
A la Marlon Brando.
Yes, literally, he was Marlon Brando. So he did an amazing job, and I'm very, very pleased. And not only I discovered an amazing actor, but now a great friend, a brother, a great filmmaker, and now we're working together. And Little Boy was just the beginning of something. I hope it will last forever, a friendship that will last forever, and hopefully together we can change the world through art.
Well, and Catch is a big part of this. What do you want fathers to take away and do as a result of Catch?
The movement that we're trying to create with Catch is to get fathers just to spend quality time with their kids. Because at the end of the day, a dad's got to provide. You got to provide. That comes with certain sacrifices. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dads working their rear end off. That's a good thing in itself. Yeah. But when you're at home, are you really at home? You know what I mean? You could be rolling calls, you could be busting emails out, you could be trying to set up the next deal or whatever it is. When you're at home, the gift of time to a kid means so much more than any other toy your hard work can buy him. At the end of the day, again, that's a good thing. Working and trying to provide for the family. That's all great things. It's what a man has to do. But the quality time at home is what I'm talking about.
That time spent is critical.
Yeah.
Thank you both for your time. You're here doing Paul Blart.
Yes.
The Mall Cop 2, which to my children is like This is the godfather of comedy in our house. What has it been like being on this film with Kevin James?
Oh, the best time ever.
I mean, we're so spoiled. I mean, we have
Yeah,
the best.
yeah.
Kevin is just an amazing human being. Again, not just a great actor, great producer, great director,
Hilarious
great writer.
comedian.
He's just his heart is bigger than this continent, and what a generous guy. The movie is so funny. It's very entertaining, very funny. Has a beautiful messages, about friendship, about father. What's a real father. Talking about Catch, and it's coming out in April. We're here in Vegas shooting the movie until the end of June, and you're gonna love this movie.
It's very funny. So Paul Blart goes back. He gets invited to a Mall Cop of the Year convention at the Wynn in Las Vegas. So he's super stoked, super excited. He gets here, and his daughter and I develop a little connection right off the bat. We end up getting kidnapped by art thieves.
Oh.
Earlier on in the film, Eduardo is the head of security for the Wynn. Him and Kevin have friction at first. They're sort of like, who are you type of a thing, like very, very funny.
Competition, between him and I.
Yeah. And then they have to team up to end up trying to come rescue us.
I see.
We get kidnapped from the art thieves, and then they got to come get us. And Eduardo's busting out all sorts of crazy action hero moves.
And the comedy ensues.
Ensues.
It's fantastic. You're gonna love it.
Can't wait to see it. Thank you both. And tell me, where can people find Catch?
Yes, catchtheshortfilm.com. Okay. They can go to catchtheshortfilm.com, and also we're going to be getting on iTunes very shortly.
And it's going to be released on Father's Day.
And you can check it out Father's Day, because it's a big Father's Day movement. So it's a great gift to a father, a great gift to a family member.
And you want to tell them that every single time that they download the
Yes.
short film, you're helping a nonprofit.
A fantastic nonprofit called Family Life Works is getting hugely benefited from this short film. Family Life Works is a nonprofit that helps instill virtue in families and helps to build strong core family values. Again, those preventative measures to try to build good virtue in family, so that way you have a strong, healthy development as a family and later on in life.
To see David Henrie's Catch, go to catchtheshortfilm.com. Catchtheshortfilm.com. That concludes the show, but be sure to join us next week when country star Colin Ray joins us, and Fox News anchor Brett Baer will join us to talk about his son's struggles and how he coped.